Hi everyone, I'm Tom Wilson. Welcome back to the Northern Gamblers podcast for a special Royal Ascot preview podcast. In this edition, we're going to cover the first 2 days of the Ascot Festival. We'll probably do another episode of the podcast on Wednesday night when we'll cover the final days as well. I'm going to kick us off with some overall stats for Royal Ascot. I took a dump of all results from 2009 to 2019. So to give you a flavour on which trainers kind of generally perform quite well at the meeting, which jockeys traditionally perform quite well at the meeting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a festival portfolio like I did for Cheltenham. I'm not sure it'll be as successful as the Cheltenham portfolio that ended up plus 300 points, but that was largely thanks to a plus 200 point win on a 201 winner. But we'll give it a good go. So these would be the top trainers, sorted from top to bottom by percentage of rivals beaten in all Royal Ascot races since 2009. A bit of a surprise really at the top. You see Willie Mullins kind of heading the trainer column there. But a bit of an exception, of course, this year. So Willie's decided not to bring any horses over, so you can effectively skip him in terms of your trainer portfolio. So Michael Stout won with a really notable record. You see a strong win record, a strong place record, good on rivals beaten as a metric, good on win impact value, and decent on place impact value as well. Henry Candy is a bit of an outlier. Very interesting one, does well on rivals beaten. His win percentage is a bit shaky though, so I'm probably going to end up kicking myself. I might not put Henry Candy in the trainer portfolio, but for those that like Greenside in the Buckingham Palace, that might be one that gives another plus beside his name. The positive kind of overall rivals beating performance of Henry Candy at the meeting. Aidan O'Brien, of course, very good. He'll be going in the portfolio. James Fanshawe makes it in at the portfolio. Good on win impact value, good on rivals beaten, decent place percentage as well. Johnny G makes it in there, of course. Clive Cox, I'm still wavering a little bit. He might not make it in. I think Wesley Ward's going to make it in as well. Particularly, I'm interested if any Wesley Ward runners have kind of already had a run, and that might benefit them a little bit. James's mate Huey down the bottom there as well. Top jockeys, and I did a bit of an edit for any jockeys who couldn't ride at the meeting as well. So I took a number of the Irish lads out and some of the French lads as well. Jockeys that'll be making the way into my portfolio. Ryan Moore is just exceptional, really, and he's been red hot at the meeting since 2009. See there with a percentage of rivals beaten squared, kind of figure of 53 versus a par of 35. So well above expected performance there, or normal performance there. His win impact value is strong as well, as is his places that he's delivered. So 314 runs, 54 wins, 134 places. Frankie's decent as well. A lot of hype over bet, probably, but Frankie might make it in the portfolio as well. Jamie Spencer, very good on the hold-up types. We'll come on to that. Danny Tubb, I'm not sure. He's kind of frustrated me a little bit in the last 2 weeks. Probably shouldn't be swerving him on like pure stats, but let's see if Danny Tubb makes it in. Will Buick does well as well. The Doyler does well on the hold-up types, so I'm quite happy to have a swing at the Doyler with some hold-up types as well. So we'll be having a look at him. I did break the jockeys down by run style as well. So you see there kind of 3 categorizations: jockeys with front runners or leaders, prominent horses or mid-division horses, and then held-up horses or horses in rear. Over most trips at Ascot, you'd probably be looking for the more hold-up types to come good, and so it's interesting again to see who can kind of maximise that potential track bias there. Spencer obviously doing very well on the figures in terms of maximising the returns from the hold-up horses, as you would expect. The Doyler coming out quite nice as well, though, so it could be quite an acute judge of pace on the more reserved types. So I'll be keeping the Doyler on side in the portfolio, I think. Ryan Moore probably just makes it in. So I'm probably going to put a point win and place on every single Ryan Moore ride, to be honest with you. And Frankie rides, I might just cover myself with a Frankie rides. I'm not sure. Well, just horrendously over bet. And I'll be backing all the Will Buick rides that are not kind of generally hold up horses as well. So anything mid-division prominent or front running for Will Buick, I'll be backing them as well. So in the jockey portfolio, Ryan Moore, Frankie, I'm a bit loath. I might just take the hit, and you can slag me off when all Frankies win, and not put him in. Will Buick goes in for the more kind of prominently raced horses. Jamie Spencer can go in for the hold-up horses and the mid-division horses, and the Doyler can go in for all. So that's going to be the jockey portfolio as well. So we'll kick it off with the Tuesday, and we're going to start off with the Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, quite a strong fancy in this actually, but it's very obvious. It's the favourite. Darrick. He ran and won quite impressively, I thought, at Newcastle. Can't remember the day, but that was in a pretty decent handicap, I thought, and he won it in the style of a horse that potentially could be kind of group horses, and he went up £7 for that. So his new rating is 104. So he's going to have to be good. But I think he is. And I was looking down the list of the runners, and there's a few older horses that I can't be having. I know there's been a lot of anti-post hype around Queso, but I mean, he's going to need to put in a career best performance as a 6-year-old off 99. It's. I think there's a few more unexposed types in here that I'd fancy over him. Mutamasik was one I actually put up for the Lincoln that never happened. So people might think, oh, why is he not going for him? I just had another look at the form, and I just wasn't overly impressed. He's on a 4-run winning streak. But I thought when I was weighing up this race, I thought Darrick just had that better form. He's obviously had the recent run. He's shown his liking for a stiff 7 furlongs, which is what he's going to get. There's a slight question mark about running on turf. He ran on turf on his maiden, his debut race, and was poor. But you can forgive a horse a bad run. And then he's been on the all-weather since, and he's won 3 out of 4. Came second in a listed race. So that is a small question mark, but looking through his pedigree and stuff, I can't see any reason why he wouldn't be okay on the turf. You get Dettori, Gosden. Combinations don't get much better than that. I think the high draw is a positive. I'll let you talk about the draw. So yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes, and he's the one for me. Obvious favourite to start off.
Yeah. You mentioned Queso. The jockey booking is interesting for our old mate Nigel Tinkler, isn't it? He jocks up Oisin Murphy. Oisin Murphy's ridden twice for him, and he's 1 from 2. Both were well backed. Hello Girl was the winner. in June of last year at Lingfield. Opened at 4s and was backed into 6-4 with Tinklerbuck in Oisin, and the other one was triple distilled also in June 19. Got beat. Finished third.
I think obviously a lot of people will be latching onto that, and also his race over this course and distance in July last year, where he was second, just losing to Raisin Sand by a head. He was really well back that day. Actually went off favourite at 11-2. So people are obviously looking at that strong Ascot form, but if you look at actual wins, his highest winning mark is only 92, so he's £7 higher. And I'm sure I remember Nigel Tinkler saying something that this horse prefers a bit of soft ground, and although there was good to soft in the going rating, I think it's predominantly good now, and the weather looks fine. Well, it's been fine today and tomorrow, so it's going to be probably very nice, good ground. Got to remember, this hasn't been ran on as well for months. The ground's going to be just in perfect condition.
So the Buckingham Palace, the pace. So I did a pace breakdown for most of the races. So this is how 7 furlong races at the Ascot Festival have kind of transpired since 2009, breaking down the run style of the horses in the 3 categories: front, leading, prominent mid-division, held up and in rear. I think we see quite clearly there the preference towards hold up or horses that are travelling in behind and in the rear. I think we know that about Ascot, that it's not necessarily a front runner's track. So I saw it as positives for a lot of the horses you can see on the left hand side. To give a few shout outs, Darrick, the favourite, one that you've already mentioned, going to play nicely into his hands. Greenside I thought was interesting for Henry Candy. We saw a decent trainer stat there. I think he's 9 though, isn't he? But if you can get a few extra places, and with the Gianni claim, the legendary Gianni claim, you could see a Greenside maybe sneak into one of your extra place bets. So I wouldn't put you off him. I'm probably going to back Firmament each way as well, probably with some extra places. Probably shouldn't be going for the older, more exposed horses here, but he's been in decent form recently. And to go back to my old Jockeys chart, James Doyle takes the ride on Firmament, and he's a bit of a legend with hold-up horses in this meeting over the last few years. See that 43% of rivals beaten, and he's 3 from 29. He's 10 horses placed from 29. So I don't think Firmament will win, but I think he's a decent little each way bet. The one that I would be I haven't done the draw yet. So that's the pace. Held up is the recommendation.
Well, we know Firmament will be looking like he might win a furlong out, but then he'll probably fade to come 3rd or 4th. So the place is nice.
I looked at the draw. I think you mentioned it, yeah, but I think there's a preference for a high draw. I would be looking at stalls 19 to 25. So you've got a positive there for documenting First Contact, Darrick, Jack's Point, Greenside, War Glory, and Flaming Spear.
Just remember, this year there's only 24 runners.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you can kind of squeeze a few off the end of that and shuffle it up a little bit.
Yeah,
that's all 7 furlong races with 16 plus runners, by the way. The one that I probably would go for is one you've mentioned, and it's one you've not tipped. I'd probably go for Mutamatic, because if he's the horse that costed me getting any replies any more from Roger Varian after you made me text him about the Lincoln.
Well, I didn't really like anything, to be honest. It's definitely a watching race for me. I won't be having a bet in this. That Group 3, in your eyes, before Moscardou, wouldn't be a million miles away. He was only a length and a half away from Circus Maximus last year in the St James's Palace. The ground was good to soft there. Moscardou probably on a firmer surface, to be honest, but he's going to get that a little bit tomorrow. I think the straight track will suit him better. So I definitely wouldn't be writing him off like you are. He's shown glimpses of Group 1 quality. Obviously 4th in the St James's Palace, third in the 2000 Guineas. The run at Goodwood would put you off a little bit. He didn't get beat far, but I would have expected him to win that. But it was a quite a decent race, but won by Duke of Hazzard. Apart from that, Circus Maximus is probably the right favourite, but I couldn't back him at whatever price he is, 9 to 4, 11 to 4. And it's all just a bit of a muchness, really, isn't it? If a gun to my head, I'd probably have a little each way play on Scardu, but other than that, it's really just a watching race for me.
Yeah, I'd probably land on Circus Maximus in the end. That Ryan Moore factor, obviously scoring high on the jockey chart, so I'll take that as a positive. In defence of Scardu, he's got the Doiler, so that might be a nice thing for him. Again, going back held up, yeah, the Doiler. Oh,
ground should be better.
Could be lovely. Shame he's not good enough.
If you get in extra places, I think I saw maybe 4 or 5 places. That sounds ideal, really, for Scardu.
You can get 14 to 1 to 5 places on William Hill.
Well, I think it was 5 places on Sky Bet as well. That wouldn't be the worst bet, but as I said, I'm not in a rush to back it, so I wouldn't be telling anyone else to.
It's a favourite for me, Circus Maximus. Scardu for you.
Yeah.
Next one is the Ribblesdale Fillies race. I don't know if this is the type of race you like to get stuck into. Did you ever look at it?
Well, we've seen a few of these run recently, so it's all fresh in my head. We obviously both of us tipped up Miss Yoda for the Oaks at quite a big price, which was 40 to 1. So it'd be good to see her run. She couldn't have found more trouble in the Lingfield Oaks trial. She missed the break. She was behind horses. She found trouble everywhere she went. She still managed to win. I don't think that was the strongest race, but to find that much trouble and still win going away at the line, I thought was quite impressive. So I'm definitely interested to see what she does. And I think she's drifting out to quite a interesting each way price, to be fair. I think she's better than the majority of these. Obviously, the favourite, Frankly Darling. It's the Cracksman colours, Golden Horn colours. Frankie's on her. But let's remember, she's only won a novice race at Newcastle 15 days ago. It was impressive, and she does look a nice prospect. She's full or half? She's a sibling to. I've started saying that and I can't remember the thing. That other Gosden horse. First in line. So shouldn't have a problem staying the trip. But I wouldn't be backing her at those prices. Passion needs to bounce back after a 4th in a average listed race over in Ireland, and that was only 6 days ago. So I'll be interested to see how she runs. But from a betting perspective, it would be again a no bet from me, but an interest in Miss Yoda for the Oaks going forward, and she's probably a solid each way player.
Same charts coming back at you. Pace was a bit different here, I thought. Maybe because there are 3-year-old fillies. Seemed to want to be more forward. Actually, I observed a negative and a fairly significant negative for the held up horses. I think there's quite a heavy age thing that plays into that as well. I think you observe it in the younger horses' races. They find it harder to recover position and come through the field. I think it's often better to get position with the 2-year-olds and the early 3-year-olds. So I thought more prominent, even leading would be a preference here in terms of run style and pace. I thought there were positives for Anastasia, Born with Pride, who's a non-runner, Frankly Darling, So I Told You, in Trefoil. On the old draw, this is stalls for 10-16 runner, 12 furlong races at Royal Ascot since 2009. I thought it was a negative to be drawn in the middle. You can kind of see two like upward slopes on like the inner from 2 to 6, and then probably from 12 to 16. So I just thought it might be a negative for Frankly Darling in 6, Passion in 7, and Hold Fast in 9. So that's a bit of a watch out, perhaps, on the favourite. What I would love to see is the Doiler held up on, what is it, Enistimon. So the Doiler held up on Enistimon travelling through the field at the end. It didn't come out fitting on my pace profile for the race, but I'm very happy to take on an easy novice winner in Frankly Darling. I think the jockey booking of Miss Yoda kind of speaks against it a little bit. So I'm going to side with the Doiler on Enistimon probably each way, and kind of a bit of Brian taking a leap forward angle on that horse. Right, next one is the Edward the 7th, and the favourite is now gone shades of odds on, and that's Mogul. I think best price is now 5 to 6. Do you think the favourite is a penalty kick, or did you look elsewhere in the Edward the 7th?
It's another no bet race for me, but I don't think I'd be taking odds on Mogul. He's obviously the right favourite, but the Derby's in 2 weeks, or just over 2 weeks after this. This is a Derby prep for him, you would imagine. We saw last year in the Dante, where his full brother Japan, although they did come out and say he was really not ready. He improved massively in the Derby, and then obviously went on, kept improving. Haven't heard any reports about Mogul not being fit or anything, or not having any setbacks. So he's probably a little bit further forward than Japan was last year. But we know Ballydoyle, Aidan O'Brien, they will want to win the Derby. He will not be fully tuned up for this. This will put him spot on. So just on that basis, I couldn't be backing it. I mean, I don't think I've backed the horse odds on for a long time, but I definitely wouldn't be backing him at odds on. But he obviously could just go and win. The one I'm definitely interested in is Mohican Heights. I spoke about him in our Horses to Follow podcast. I think he could potentially be a St. Ledger horse. He's unbeaten. He's been impressive both times. This is obviously a little bit of a step up in class. He won a listed race last time. He's absolutely full of stamina on both sides of the pedigree. So the trip will be absolutely no problem at all, and he will improve for it. The Simcoe Yard is in pretty terrible form, but this is one of his stars. So, I mean, he could just be trainer for. I don't think trainer home matters too much for the better horses. So he would be the interesting one for me. But again, he's not a massive, obviously small fields, not a massive price. So I don't think I'll be betting him, but I'll definitely be watching him with an interest further down the line. And the others, they're probably below Group 2 standard, aren't they? So Arthur's Kingdom might be a bit better, but yeah, no bet.
Good. Here's the pace for 1 mile 4 races at Royal Ascot since 2009. Again, I thought it was better to be a bit more forward rather than held up over this trip. So prominent mid-division or even front running and leading. I thought it was positives for Mogul, Mohican Heights and Sound of Cannons. Here's the draw for 12 furlong races with 5 to 10 runners at Royal Ascot since 2009. I didn't observe anything too significant, but I thought it was a negative to be drawn really low. So I didn't like stalls 1 and 2 for Pile Driver and Arthur's Kingdom. And there's probably then a preference towards the higher part of the draw. The one that I actually kind of sided with and landed with is it Papa Power? the Andrew Balding horse. Just because I thought fairly unexposed, stable in red hot form, didn't want to take 5 to 6 on Mogul with the Derby coming up, as you said. I just thought, so take an each way price on that one and hope either that he runs to second or that some of the O'Brien horses run flat and he sneaks into and grabs the win. So Papa Power for me.
I think he's in my tracker, that Papa Power, but standard. I wasn't hoping he was going to go for a Group 2.
So what about the King stand where Batash is 4 to 5 favourite, and you've got a decent Royal Ascot accumulator, haven't you? And Batash is in it. So that would be nice if Batash would win for you.
I mean, I get accused of trumpeting here, but I've got Batash, I've got doubles, trebles, and each way 4 falls and singles. I didn't do it as a lucky 15. I like to do it separately because I like to put more money on the doubles, and then you know what I mean. Anyway, I've got Batash at 7 to 2, Stradivarius at 5 to 2, Pierre Lapin at 10 to 1, and Military March for the Derby at 10 to 1.
Are they each way, or are they win only?
The 4-fold is each way, and then it's
not the doubles.
No, doubles and trebles are just win only. So yeah, it's looking. It's well as everything. It's nice to get the value, but value doesn't put food on the table.
Oh Jesus! I almost got drawn into another value discussion on Twitter, or I did earlier on today. I couldn't hack it. What's more important, finding winners or beating the SP? And something like 70% of people put finding winners. Well, I tell you what, I can find you 50 winners out of 100, and they'll all be priced 1 to 3, and you'll lose money. There you go.
I can find you
finding winners,
just not as many winners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can beat the SP all the time, but no winners. But you know what that means? It's in the bank. You'll be paid back later on.
Well, I'd like to be paid now, to be fair.
Yeah, well, if the process is right, you'll be all right in the end.
But if
value is accumulating,
yeah, it's worth a canny bit, that bet. So fingers crossed, Batash will kick it off tomorrow. Hopefully, the right Batash turns up and destroys them. Obviously, no blue point this year, which was a big plus. The rest of the field's not great. Glass Slippers, the obvious threat. I've actually got anti-post bet on her as well. About 12 or 16 to 1. Maybe, I think I got it at both. But yeah, I mean, you would hope that Batash wins this. Really, he really should be winning it.
He should be winning it.
Glass Slippers. The what odds is Glass Slippers? Is it? It's like is it a bit of a filthy each way price or
9 to 2? Yeah, 9 to 2.
Yeah, very very bit filthy. Just yeah, the rest. I mean, Jesus Christ.
So here was the pace. Fort Front and Prominent was good. Positives, Batash and Hit the Bid. Hit the Bid's about 100 in A. So
yeah.
Kevin Blake actually.
Only 6.
Is he? Oh,
same age as
Batash. Brilliant.
But you don't want to be back and Hit the Bid because O'Shea Murphy's on him.
Well, there you go. There's another. He's under a and O'Shea Murphy's riding him. Same as like Gaiaph's not that fast. Did the draw. 5 furlong races. Slight positive to be drawn high, I thought. Not mega. Weldon Fox, Curious, Rocket Action, Liberty Beach, Batash, and Tis Marvellous. What it kind of played into. I think Batash gets the job done and kind of sets your retirement accumulator nicely on its way. To be honest.
It's not retirement, but it'd be a nice win.
Pay for the summer, would it?
It's worth about 30 grand. All in all, if they all won. So I'd be if the first 3 go in, it's like a 15-day wait to the Derby. So that'd be nice.
Then do you trust Saeed bin Sarur to get it done in the Derby?
Getting pelters on my Twitter, but End of the day, the horse is doing the running, not Saeed. If you look at the 2,000 guineas, I thought Military March was what a run. Do you know what I mean? He's clearly a 10, 12 furlong horse. He's got that perfect pedigree for a derby. To come fourth off that, obviously they ran at an insane pace early, and he was up there the whole way. And was only a few lengths off Pinatubo and Wichita, who are out and out milers. Kamako probably get 10 furlongs, but I think he'd be struggling at 12.
Better on the synthetics as well.
Better on synthetics, yeah. They should send him over to America for the Breeders' Cup. But yeah, I thought it was a great Derby trial. It was a better race than what the likes of Mogul be running in. That English King, that Lingfield race, I thought that was a shite race, to be honest. I can't believe English King is shorter than Military March for the Derby, to be fair. That they went a silly pace as well, and they all folded, and English King was held up, I think. I know it looked good, but what's he beating really? He's probably beating a top end handicapper, maybe listed at best. So really like the Military March form. He's obviously going to improve going up in trip, and I just think he's a great shout for the Derby, but we digress.
Yeah, 4:10 on Tuesday, it's the Duke of Cambridge. Jubiloso heads the market for Stout and Moore. Trainer hit and jockey hit on the old portfolio there, so he'll be making it through. She'll be making it through. It's a Fillies and Mares race. Do you like Magic Lily's in there? It's a horse that you like as well. Who did you like? Not anymore. All right. Who did you like in the Duke of Cambridge?
Again, I don't really like anything.
I thought you said to me before this you had some stuff to tip.
Yeah.
You haven't tipped anything yet?
Derek in the first. That was a strong selection. That was a very strong selection.
All right.
I don't know if I trust half of these. I don't know if I trust Jubiloso. Bloody hell. You're not getting a price. Miss O'Connor, she the Doyler for you? Doesn't she like it soft though? But I think she wants it soft. Nazif was
she's running bogs pretty much every run for the last 4, so
I would worry about that. I think Jesus Christ. Lavender's blue is interesting, but there's nothing that's getting me excited. There's nothing that's making me want to bet on it. So I'm just gonna say no bet.
Well, yeah. So the favourites making it into the portfolio de facto, probably a double stake to be honest. 1 point Ryan Moore, and 1 point Sir Michael Stout. So
he might be an absolute hound though.
It's absolutely fine. It's all right. But then the Doyler's in the portfolio as well, so Miss O'Connor can cover it.
No, do you know what your problem here though? If you're going to do obviously your Cheltenham portfolio went just ridiculously well. Like it was, how much was it up?
Plus 300 points.
300 points in 4 days, obviously.
There was a 200 to 1 winner. So
yeah, this is what I'm about to say. At Royal Ascot, you ain't going to get some rogue Irish trainer with some yak in
the Fox Hunters. Whatever it was.
But I mean, it was up every day anyway, but you know what I mean? You're just not going to get that at Royal Ascot.
Let's see. Bit of buffer, give some of that 300 points back.
Well,
I do think the National Hunt is prime for that sort of stuff, isn't it? You can run your angles and your multiple portfolios because some rogue's going to pop up, but you would hope that the class of the flat maybe negates it a little bit, but who knows? Still going to do it.
You'll obviously get the odd anomaly, but you would think it with the flat game it holds up a bit better because obviously you're not getting
yaks.
You're not getting yaks and you're not getting ridiculous races where amateurs are going around. You know what I mean?
Still gonna do it though. Yeah, on the pace, held up. I thought I liked it for Iconic Choice, Lavender's Blue, and Posted. On the draw as well, I actually didn't observe any significant bias for the kind of 8 to 14 run or 8 furlong races as well. So no massive draw bias. Maybe a bit of a shout out. So Posted is a big price. Richard Hannon, Sean Levy. So we know some people who are kind of involved in the ownership there as well, and they thought that she might run well or has an each way chance perhaps at a big price. So I'll give a shout to Posted and a tip of the hat to the people that we know that are involved with her. And Jubilee will be double stake in the portfolio as well.
Hope she doesn't hound it out for you.
Last race of Tuesday, 4:40, 2 mile 4 Ascot Stakes. Nicky, this is a double qualifier in the old portfolio as well. We've got Nicky with his high percentage of rivals beaten and Ryan Moore taking the ride. Absolutely lovely. Verdana Blue heads the market at 4-1. Love it. Brilliant. Get the axe on the flat.
Well, they'd have a good record in this race, don't they? The Yaks and the Jumps trainers. I'm deciding I'm going elsewhere though with my.
Of course, you're going elsewhere. There's the obvious one you're going to, isn't there?
Well, there's a few See the Moons in here.
All right. Not Moon King straight away then.
I'm not. Nah, you see, you picked the wrong one. Picked the wrong See the Moon. The See
Summer
the
Moon.
Yes, the See the Moon I like is Summer Moon. Summer Moon was third in the Cesarewitch last year. Obviously, an extreme trip. Not quite as extreme as this one though. This is 2 furlongs further. And although you seem to be making, I think you were putting up 3-year-olds for the Cesarewitch last year, weren't you?
I was, yeah. Yeah,
it's a notoriously hard race for 3-year-olds to do well in. But Summer Moon came third, and I thought that was a great effort. He's also won off a break twice. He comes here off a break, which is nice. So he's obviously by See the Moon, and he's out of a dam called Songeri. She was third in the Group 2 Park Hill Stakes over 1 mile 6, and she was rated 111. So obviously, it's a top class staying pedigree. He's actually been gelded over the winter as well. And See the Moon progeny have the stats are, and it's a very small sample size, so I'm not going to quote it, but they are. It's
put it in the chat.
I can't be asked. I haven't got time to colour in. So I think that's positives. I think the breaks are positive. The Geldings should be positive, and I think he'll stay this trip well. Obviously, another winter on his back, you would imagine he would see the race out a bit stronger. So yeah, I liked him. I think Moon King's obviously interesting. The other See the Moon, he's had a run recently and won, so he has to carry £5 more. But if I was gonna, no, he's got a £5 penalty.
I thought it was 3.
He's £3 wrong in the handicap, but he's
sorry,
yeah. £5 penalty. I thought Land of Oz was interesting as well, but I thought
you don't tip Mark Prescott horses because you hate him.
Well, I hate the false praise of running a
good trainer,
running a 2 mile future stare over 6 furlongs, getting a mark of 50, and then winning 3 in a row before they finally get found out, which is exactly what he did with Land of Oz.
Yeah.
You know what the most annoying thing about this horse is? I tipped this horse last year on its first start, May 28th at Redcar, went from 8 furlongs up to 14 furlongs, came 4th, went off joint favourite, came 4th, off a mark of 60. He then won, came 3rd to Hamish, won, and is now rated 93. And he lost for me on 60, and I didn't back him in any of the other races. So, but I think he has got a good chance. I thought the run behind Collide was a nice run over 12 furlongs. And it would probably put him spot on for this, but I do prefer Summer Moon, and I think you can get like 11, 12 to 1, and you can get 5 places. I'd be disappointed if he wasn't in the top 5, to be honest.
So Verdana Blue's getting 2 points, 1 point for Ryan Moore, 1 point for Nicky Henderson. Who else? Where's the Doyler? Fair Mountain's getting a point for the Doiler. A couple of Paul Nichols horses in here as well. That's it. That's my point allocation. Verdana Blue and that one that the Doiler's on. Fair Mountain. Skeleton. Wow.
That's been off a long time, that horse.
Oh, lethal.
I looked at
the
it.
handicap hurdle.
I looked at it.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Interesting.
8-year-old. Great. That might be a point lost on the Doiler in the portfolio.
You need to back to see the moons up in Trip.
I mean, just do that forever, yeah.
I can't believe we missed one the other day. 14 to 1 winner.
I think we've missed about 4, haven't we?
I've missed so much shit that I should have been on, but it's early days.
Who's your best bet for day one?
Oh, Derek, definitely. I know he's favourite, but I think he's potentially at least a listed Group 3 horse. Yeah, really like, and he's in a decent draw and patient suit. So yeah, he's quite a strong selection for me.
Mine is back everything the Doiler's on.
What Scardo then? So you fancy Scardo quite heavily
by default.
Do you? Are these just 1 point wins, or are they?
They're 1 point wins and 1 point places as well.
Well, the Scardo will bring you that point place at least.
All right, let's get back to the graphs. It's Wednesday. Silver.
Just checking the weather.
Silver Hunt Cup. Pace held up. Preference, in my opinion. I thought it was positive for Sabuska, Home Before Dusk, Plant a Dream, So Beloved, Smile Amal, Al Mufti, Succulus, Presidential, and I think that should be Goring, not Going. I couldn't figure out the draw, you know. I don't think there's a massive draw bias. I'm not sure there's a mega draw bias over a mile. They probably split into 2 columns, don't they?
I hope there isn't.
I don't think there is. I think you probably... They're probably splitting into columns. You might want to be at the front of the column. Might be what I would observe. Is that a column there? You've got to look at like where are the spikes. So you've seen a spike there between 5 and 6. Perhaps maybe that's like the kind of the front edge of the column or the front edge of a triangle. You're seeing a bit of a spike at 17. Maybe that's the front edge of a triangle, and then at the top end, maybe they're navigating towards a rail. So that might be a thing if you can work out how the field's going to split. Try and go for the leaders of the columns, perhaps. Well, actually, no. The ones in the middle of where the split will be that will be held up. Well, don't even bother working it out. No massive bias. So you did like one here, didn't you? Who did you like? But you're worried about the draw, so stop worrying about it.
No, I was worried for one in the Britannia about the draw, but with that's on Thursday, and we're not doing Thursday tonight now. So, fucking thing hasn't loaded up. What race are we on? Silver Hunt Cup.
Silver Hunt Cup, yeah.
Yeah, hang on, I'll go on my phone. Yeah, I like one. Going very unexposed here, just basically full on potential. May Danny for Mark Johnston. By Dubawi, out of attraction, obviously 1,000 guineas winner. Cost about, I think he cost 1.3 million. Disappointing in his 2 novice starts, but then Geldings, and he came out at Windsor last week and broke the track record actually over a mile. Really impressive. Didn't really need to get out of second gear to do it as well. I mean, that was a much weaker race than this, obviously. But the fact that he's ran the fast time is obviously a positive. The pedigree is amazing. Dubawi has a good record at Ascot. I don't know if you've got the stats. I don't know if you've done.
I haven't.
No, but he does. I know he does. He's obviously that makes that pedigree makes him a half brother to Elikam, who's obviously top horse, Group 2 winner. So he went up £10 for that win. at Windsor, which is totally fair, and that got him to a mark of 90. So there's still plenty of scope in that pedigree. If the Gelding, obviously the Gelding clearly has worked because it was a much better performance, but if he can kick on from that, I mean, this again could be a group horse in a handicap, and he's also got that run under his belt. So I just see lots of positives. The only negative is he's only had 3 starts. I suppose it's a big handicap.
That's not a negative. That's a positive.
Well, yeah.
A positive, unexposed, positive.
Oh, massively unexposed. And I've 8-1, 5 places. What's not to like?
I'm surprised you're not going for the horse that just got beaten neck by the winner of the actual Royal Hunt Cup.
Uzo has failed to win 3 times now off 91. I think he was probably flattered a little bit against Belrock. There was a big pace bias that day, wasn't there? And Ryan Moore got him to the front quite early. And obviously Belrock came and nabbed him. The fact that Belrock was able to go against the pace bias and nab him, I think you can mark up Belrock, but I don't think you can mark up Uzo. And he didn't go up for that, which is a positive for him. But he also failed to. Hasn't won off that mark twice in lesser races, so he looks about in the grip of the handicapper to me. I don't see him taking a massive leap forward. Ryan Moore's on him, so you're obviously going to be backing him.
Yeah, he gets a point.
Probably, I know you said there's no draw bias, but high's probably not a bad place to be. I'm not sure where the pace is.
Might be slightly better, yeah.
Yeah, we see Mayor Danny's in 5, so I'm kind of hoping that the draw bias. I'm hoping there isn't a draw bias, to be honest.
I don't think there is.
So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of unexposed types in here. Red Bond was third behind Darrick in that Newcastle race that I spoke about. I think that's a good run, and obviously. Horses coming into this with a recent run could not necessarily have an advantage, but do you know what I mean? At least it shows that they're fit and ready to go. I just thought I had to go with the unexposed, the pedigree, the fact that they broke the track record, clearly flying. Like, yeah, that's what I'm all about, isn't it? Unexposed, improvement, whatever.
Yeah, nice. Uzo gets a point for Ryan Moore taking the ride. I would be tempted to side with Sabuska a little bit as well if I wasn't allergic to tipping any horse that Oisin Murphy's on. Ahead of Dark Vision, who we've always liked, we might still like for the real Royal Hunt Cup as well. Is a positive, but sadly Oisin Murphy makes him a no-go. Al Mufti, Doyler on board as well. So you never know. He's getting a point as well. So I'll Mufti and Uzo for me. And Mayor Danny for you. I think you made a nice case there. I like that. Hampton Court.
He's the one. Sorry, just to put in the Mayor Danny. He's the one in the field who could be anything, isn't he? Really, the rest of them, yeah, they're good horses and they could improve a little bit more. But you wouldn't say there's a group winner lurking, personally. But he really could be. He could take off this year. He could win this and then go on. But yeah, go on.
150 on Wednesday over 10 Hampton Court Group 3. I mean, it's a mega Group 3, really. This mental. First receiver is the Fav, and then you've got Juan Alcano. Russian Emperor, Berlin Tango, and Kenzai Warrior. Who did you like in this? I would like Kenzai Warrior, but Roger Teal's form's been a bit dodgy. He was well talked up for the Guineas, wasn't he? And he just fell out the stalls, and his chance was gone within about 20 yards. So
I think he was talked up by a lot of clueless people, personally.
What did you text me the other day? The form of the Salisbury Maiden is absolutely mental, which it is.
Yes, but I didn't mean they're all going to go and win group races. I meant they're all well handicapped off like 80.
I mean, first receiver could be anything in this. Like, could be.
Well, disappointed that they ruined the mark with him, to be honest.
Yeah, silly.
Yeah, it's Dettori and Stout as well. The fact that he's gone, and I know Dettori's clearly a terrible jockey at Royal Ascot on the stats.
Very bad. Very bad.
Terrible.
Avoid.
Berlin Tango, fuck me, that horse. That horse was in my tracker and I didn't back him when he won that bloody. The most annoying thing was with that, I watched him come second at Kempton just before lockdown, and I was having a chat with someone and I said, "Oh, he looks like he definitely love another furlong or two," and he obviously went up in trip back at Kempton and won that race. I didn't back him, but it was a hot race, so. I think he's favourite, isn't he? But Juan Elcano. I think you've really got to look at this 2000 Guineas form. It always tends to work out, the Guineas form, and you get a few of them, which we'll discuss probably in the next podcast, that have got some interesting marks from running in the Guineas. Very interesting. He was fifth. He ran a really good race. He was only a neck behind Military March, who I think is going to go and win the Derby. This step up and trip was sure to suit. So I think that is by far and away the best form in the race. So yeah, I think I'd definitely be siding with him, to be fair. Juan Elcano. I think remember Andrea Atzeni speaking on Sky Sports Racing as well a few weeks before, just as the racing was getting back, and he was talking up this horse, said he'd done really well over the winter and he's really looking forward to him. And then of course he's gone out and run fifth in the Guineas. Bit of a drop in class here, I think. I think I'd definitely side with him.
Cool.
But you're going to be on Russian Emperor.
Yeah, have to be. There's a point.
Can't be on Berlin Tango because O'Sheen Murphy's on.
No. It's a lay. You have to lay at 11-2.
I think actually now that I've thought about that actually a little bit more, because I didn't look at this much. I think Juan Elcano. What price is it?
I've already clicked off it.
Sorry, I'll get it up. You do your thing.
Ah, that's it. I'm just listening to you now.
Oh well, Juan Elcano for me.
225 is the King George V handicap. Market is headed by friend of the podcast, your new email mate, Kips, Huey Morrison. Have you been in contact with Huey, and has he said anything about Kips?
The last email I sent, he hasn't actually replied to, so I think I've burnt that bridge. But it was fun while it lasted. I messaged him about another horse, and I mentioned Kips, and he said he would definitely appreciate the run that he had at Haydock, where he was just beating on the line. So take that as what you want to hear if you're a Kips fan. I'm not sure about the step up in trip, to be fair. He wasn't exactly strong at the line, getting done on it. This is just a race full of totally just unexposed types. You've got something on the draw here, because the draw is quite key, isn't it? You must have something on the draw here.
Oh, let's have a look. No, I've done it yet.
Oh. Well, you want to be high, is the in essence.
You do. Sorry, yeah, I have done it. Yeah, you don't want to be low. So yeah. I didn't say you want to be high, but negative to be low.
You want to be double figures, I would say, at least 10 plus. Yeah, I mean, this is a race to definitely keep an eye on. Lots of nice horses in here. Half of the room, my tracker. Win O'Clock, so annoying, because he won the other week and I didn't back him. But I mean, he's getting in here off 8 stone, and he only went up. He's only having to carry a £4 penalty. for what was quite an impressive win, actually, at Haydock. Now, he's by Australia out of a dam called G. Kell. And she has quite a few progeny with RPRs of over 100. The step up and trip is sure to suit, being by Australia. And I have no doubt that he's better than a mark of 79. He has a decent draw in 13, so he must be thereabouts. Do you know what, as well? Holly Doyle. You've seen Holly Doyle's stats since resumption?
Oh, insane. Absolutely insane.
Insane. She's about plus £55 to a £1 level stake as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Oh, she's on fire. She's very good.
Yeah. Convict's half brother to Hamish. So again, I like him, but it's full of this Buckingham as well. It's just full of unexposed types. It's one to tempt you in because there's a lot of horses I like, but it's probably best off just watching this race, in my opinion. There's probably 3 or 4 potential listed group class stayers in this race. So one for the notebooks, and yeah, you don't have to play every race, so just watch this one.
3 o'clock on Wednesday is the Prince of Wales over 10. Markets headed by Japan, then Headman, horse trained by Roger Charlton, who, according to you, can never win on 1,000 guineas.
Well, I was right, wasn't I?
You were right, yeah. Is Japan the one, or elsewhere? There's an old favourite who even made it on your birthday present, the horse collage Lord North, is in here.
I've got it. Shall I get it? It's in here. Yeah. So you can see that. You see that?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
We can see Swinging Eddie. We can see Lord North. We can see
some horrendous shouts in there. To be fair, from you, but it's nice. They also got this for my birthday. And you can see my chair. That is my new massaging office chair, which is nice. So I just sit there and get a massage. Yeah, Japan is probably the one, isn't he? I've actually get my trumpet out here. Backed him at 7-2 for this, so I'm in a very handsome position. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting they roll the dice with Lord North. He could have gone to the Wolferton, but he would have had to carry a penalty. On all known form, Japan really should be winning. He's even won at the course. I mean, the O'Brien stable seem to be quite forward. They've obviously had Guineas winners and horses been winning right, left, and centre. So yeah, it's just another watching race for me. There's only 7 runners as well, so I would expect Japan to win.
I tried to look at, and I tried to do the pace on it. I just thought it was a pace mess. There's just no pace on whatsoever. I thought Lord North was the most likely leader, and I wouldn't say he's necessarily one you'd always expect to lead. So I just think it might be a tactical mess. I would definitely stay clear of it, in fact.
Yeah.
Much more.
If it's tactical, I suppose you want something with a bit of speed. But I've got this small theory that these, the Japan, Mogul, Sir Isaac Newton and that, I just think they might be better at 10 furlongs, so this race should suit him better. But if it becomes a bit of a mess, I don't know. Even Barney Roy would have a bit more speed than some of these.
So then a bit more interesting is the 3:35. That's the Royal Hunt Cup over a mile. Let me get the old charts out again. So run style, don't want to be at the front. Held up was better, I thought. I thought it was positives for Racing Sand. What's the story? Bellrock, Dark Vision, and Beatboxer. Negative for Wargrave, Kinran, and Fox Power. even though he did win the virtual Lincoln. Preference for held up horses. Couldn't figure out the draw again. Don't really think there's a massive draw bias. Again, it might be pace relative. There might be a couple of columns that form, but I'm not that concerned about the draw. We've liked Bell Rock for a long time. We've liked Dark Vision for a long time. There's this Lord Tennyson that was beaten by champion 2-year-old Marie's Diamond last time out. So it really depends how highly you take Marie's Diamond performance the other week at Newmarket, whether that horse was significantly suited by the kind of the running conditions and the prevailing front running conditions last week, or whether Marie's Diamond is indeed the champion 2-year-old that I always thought he was. So it depends how highly you rank Lord Tennyson's form there. Bell Rock is also we've talked about a number of times. James has always liked him. James tipped him when he won the other day. Ran kind of against the makeup of the race, actually did well in the end to win and get up and beat Uzo. You would expect that Bell Rock has still got a little bit more in the tank as well. Dark Vision is just a horse that we've liked for a long while, and the problem is he always just flatters to deceive. We
don't like him anymore.
I still like him. We spoke to Charlie Johnson when we were at York last year, and he said they thought Dark Vision was really well handicapped to win at Goodwood. I think they got drawn in the car park. That meant we backed Dark Vision at York. Ran terribly, and it's just isn't running as well as he should be running.
I think on that day at York, we got back from 20-1s into like 4-1 favourites. The problem for Dark Vision is he ran all right the other day actually at Newcastle, but he went up £3 for that. So that's a bit of an issue. I wouldn't be interested in on 100. He's not really reliable enough. As Tom alluded to, I like Bell Rock. He was a big fancy for the Lincoln at a big price. Unfortunately, that got cancelled. And looking at his run the other day, he would have gone very close off a mark of 98. So that was a bit annoying that race didn't happen in the end. We spoke about it earlier about when we touched on Uzo, and he's won that against that pace bias, and that last furlong he's really picked up and done it well. I just think big field at Ascot held up slightly off the pace. I think he's going to be coming there with a rattling finish. The track should really suit him. He's got a £5 penalty for this, so he's running off 103. He's got form in the book from listed races with the likes of King of Comedy and Sangarius. And he ran in another listed race at Newmarket, which Duke of Hazzard won. So I definitely think he could be better than a handicapper. It's obviously 103 is a high mark, so he would have to be better than that to win this. But he's probably my number one shot. The other one I like in here is towards the bottom of the weight, and that's a Montaffin. Another horse that was very impressive, actually. He ran in the race after the 2,000 guineas, same course and distance, half an hour later, and he was only slightly slower than Kamako's time in the guineas, carrying 6 more pounds. So I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, he's a 4-year-old. I think he's got plenty of improvement left in him. He was gelded over the winter, and he got up £10 for that. So yeah, I think Bell Rock and Montaffin would be the two I would take against the field. I'm not sure about this Lord Tennyson. I wasn't particularly impressed with his run behind Marie's Diamond. He's being given a mark of 107. It looks right to me. The horses he's in and around, he's going to have to be really good to win this. He's obviously extremely unexposed. He's only had 2 runs to Tory Brides, but I don't know. I just thought he was about right with a handicapper, and I'd take him on at the price.
Cool. 4:10 on Wednesday. It's the Windsor Castle 2-year-old race. Not really one for us, I would say.
No, that Archie Watson thing was massively overhyped for winning that shite race. I'd take him on. I don't know. I don't even know what the odds are for this.
Holly Doll, though. Mighty Gurkha. That's 17-2.
I would
Or 10-1 in places. Chief Little Hawk. Is he Air Force Blue?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I would. I mean, I don't really get involved with the 2-year-old races, but you would fancy Aidan O'Brien to have the winning hand for me.
So 440, that's the Copper Horse handicap over 1 mile 6. Fujara Prince heads the market for Roger Varian at 9-2, and then you've got Collide, a horse that you've liked for a while, 11-2. Are you sticking with Collide here?
I don't like him.
I thought you liked him.
No.
You're certainly talking about him a lot. Do you think he's a rat?
Oh, that's other people in WhatsApp groups.
All right.
Not me.
There's a Nick.
I think, yeah, Nick likes him, doesn't he? I think he always putting him up. I don't think he backed him his last 2 starts, although that he won. So, yeah, this race is. I haven't really gone in much detail, so I'm not really gonna. I'm not gonna put anything up yet.
Good, cool. Well, that was the first 2 days. I think we ran out of steam. Good job we're not doing all 4.
I mean, to be fair, the Copper Horse and the 2-year-old thing, I think we were allowed to run out of steam for that one. It's just staying race, but they're all much of a muchness, isn't it? It's not really. I haven't really got an angle on
best
that.
bet for day 2?
Best bet for day 2. The best bet for day 2 is an each-way double. Try and get as many places as you can on May Danny and Bell Rock.
Oof.
That is the best bet. I think.
Back all horses with the dialer on. Held up only. All right. Cool. Good. Thanks for listening.
Are we doing days 3, 4, and 5 on Wednesday?
Depends how well days 1 and 2 go.
I think we should anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll record that on Wednesday.
Cool.
Hopefully, have a couple of winners.
Good. Right. Thanks for listening. Good luck at Ascot. If anyone owns a craft brewery and you're not a bookmaker, feel free to get in touch and sponsor the podcast.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.